What's up, everybody? This is Vince. Tonight on Why We Serve, we're going to be interviewing Ben Lake. Ben, how are you?
What's going on? That's what you always say every time. What's going on, guys?
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain. It's kind of scary now.
Now I'm in control, so we're gonna start this off. All right. What do you make before taxes?
$8.
All right. So Ben, why did you start this podcast, and what's your reasoning behind it? Let's give the audience let's give them kind of a little better idea. This time it's you. It's someone, you know, interviewing you instead of you interviewing somebody
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
So I let's hear your response.
Um, well, I started it originally to talk to people about. I always heard podcasts, and I liked hearing people talk about stuff and the military stuff. I really like that, but I guess I just wanted to hear people's opinions on why. Because at the beginning, I'm at a point where I'm trying to figure out if I wanted to stay in or not. But now I've been doing it for a while, and it's really just fun to talk to people about their stuff, but just about life. And I think I don't know if I'm transitioning or ooh, that's kind of a hot topic. I don't know if I'm transitioning or what, but it's fun to like me and you. We sit here last time, and I did it with a couple other people, just shooting the shit, and that's like I don't know. It's like entertaining, and it provides me purpose of I just like talking to people about stuff. So I guess that's why now I guess I'm still going with it.
Gotcha. That's a good answer. Okay, well, um, what is your opinion on the state of mental health in America?
I think there's two sides to it. I think it's a major rampant problem
Yeah.
because I think everybody's lived through so much shit in the past 20 years that and the amount of information flowing in and out of everybody's phone and TV is just
It's
astronomical.
fucking crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the we know, me and you, even us, know more information now than most people knew before the 1900s, basically. Like prior to that, nobody had any recollection of this type of knowledge. Like
Hmm.
from baseline stuff to physiology of people and anatomy to
Mm-hmm.
global conflict, politics, the list goes on and on,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff.
It's all at the palm of your hand now. You got a
Yeah.
supercomputer at the palm of your hand.
and
I mean,
and and that's stressful. I think that's one side of it where it's I think, and this is coming from somebody who I've been to behavioral health stuff, talked to people, got diagnosed with basically I can't remember the actual term for it. It's just like low level anxiety, mostly from significant life events and stuff. But I think a lot of I mean, this is just me talking. I think a lot of that stuff is overdiagnosed now, from kids with ADHD and stuff to people with anxiety and depression.
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people um, just really never have felt that before into it, and they're like, "Well, what the hell is this?" I listened to somebody talk about it. It's like if you don't understand even a hair of struggle until you're in your 20s, what feels like anxiety and depression to some may feel just like a rough day to others.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little over analyzed, but I do think it's a problem with some, and it really sucks that um, the answer to a lot of it now is pills, and
Mm-hmm.
I hate that because it scares me because I take one now, and I'm like, I don't want it to run my life, but it does help. So it's like, what's the right answer? What do you think about it?
I think, like you said, I think that some people are exposed to a lot of stressful events at an early age, and I'm not saying that not saying that necessarily is a thing that, I mean, it may condition them, it may, harden them, whatever you want to call it, and you know prepare them for their adulthood a little better, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it may be, traumatic, and it may, like, have a lasting impact, and something they never really, never really talked to anybody about, or never really went and got addressed the issue, and then it kind of just lingered in their subconscious, or even in their conscious thought, just was something that was they were thinking about every day, for years and years and years, and then it just it was a snowball effect, and the stress just kind of piles up, and then you know if it's something you never address, it sticks around.
Yeah.
I mean, and some people, maybe they can throw it to the back of their mind, or their subconscious, and maybe they can say, I just brushed it under the rug. But if something bad happens in life, a lot of times, something stressful, something traumatic, something devastating, then it could pop back up.
Yeah. I think too, our generation, like we're in our like 30s barely, but like 25 to 35, we're a big self-reflecting generation.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you constantly analyze yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you can agree to this, but we look at our older generations, and it almost seems like they can compartmentalize all those issues and put them in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw it as children come to the forefront every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But that generation, I think, is like, we don't need to do anything about it. That's just like how we.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just the way
it is, and
yeah.
it's that's something, like, if you work with older folks, if you work with people that are, like, pre-retirement age,
Yeah.
Gen Z, or not, God, baby boomers,
Yeah, yeah.
they'll, the memes and the jokes and everything about boomers, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but something I found, and I kind of analyze people a little bit, through conversation and through other things, and kind of patterns, and something I see with that generation a lot of times is that they kind of they compartmentalize things, but they also they let out their frustrations through griping, and through just through your kind of mild mannered, and just kind of complaining, and things like that. Not all of them, I mean, but you know what I mean.
There's a big group of it.
Yeah. It's not like it's how they kind of cope, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
with life. And then you see Gen X, and you see the generation, like my dad's age, and like,
Yeah.
like, Gen X is a whole different deal. Gen X is like, man, they're latchkey kids, they're independent,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, I back in my marketing classes, and we'd study demographics and everything, and we'd get into, Gen X, and Gen X they would talk about independence, and how to appeal to that audience, to the Gen X audience,
Yeah.
and it was just interesting, and latchkey children, they were pretty much left on their own, and they were, they had to learn how to do everything on their own. They had to grow up alone,
Yeah.
They had two parents working, or
Two income families, like they're by themselves mostly till 5 or 6 at night.
mm-hmm.
They got to figure it out.
Divorced parents. Divorce was just hitting its, it was becoming very, very common, around the time of, the 70s and 80s. It was getting really big. Divorce was starting to become common, and women were becoming heads of household, and I mean, societal roles were changing, in at that time, in their in their younger years. And I mean, Gen X really is a different deal. They really just want to be left alone, and they don't need, like, praise or anything like that. They don't need any validation for their accomplishments. It's just like, just leave me alone and let me do my job.
Yeah.
And then we got us millennials, and like, we're a whole different deal, man. Like, we're like a whole different deal. Like you said, self-reflection and all these other things. It's like I don't want to say we're enlightened, because we're not, but
Yeah.
but we have, like, this different mindset completely. And
well, Gen X brags about, not brag, but I look at it salty, but I guess, like, they talk about how they're the generation that went from all this, like, analog stuff
mm-hmm.
when they were in their 20s, 30s, and it flipped to the
Mm-hmm.
digital age. But us, I think it's interesting because it happened while we were teenagers. Like me and you especially, I think, we saw the first iPhone in high school, and I think one person had it, and then slowly it transitioned, But I mean, we barely had internet, man. You know, like the dial-up shit. We still had that, and then it slowly flipped.
Mm-hmm.
But our childhood was still based around that, a bit of that analog stuff.
Yeah, it was like the well, and it depends on like if you're looking at X is like 1965 to 1980, I believe,
Yeah.
and then millennials are like 1981 to God 1997 or something like that.
Yeah, 95, whatever,
Somewhere in there,
it's
they don't
you
have
can
it
tell.
dialed
You
down
can tell.
completely. I mean, but it's just like it depends on when you were born then, and it's really hard to just categorize. I mean, I do see there's some consistencies, but it is really hard to like just dial it down, and because there's older Xers and then there's younger Xers.
Yeah.
And there's older millennials.
There's subcategorizations and
Because there's like, I mean, think about somebody born in 1981 versus somebody we're born in 92. Like, imagine like there's a big difference. Like, in my opinion, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen, and you perceive things differently at different ages in your life. I mean, like, they grew up in the 90s. We didn't really grow up in the 90s. We were born in the 90s. But we grew up in the 2000s,
Yeah, we just got influenced by the 90s a lot because that's what's left over as a kid. I mean, as a kid, you get the leftovers, right? You get like what's ever laying around the house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all like 90s stuff.
Yeah.
It's all our movies, dude. When we were kids, like you're just watching 90s movies. It was a golden era, I guess, for movies, but like that's all we saw when we were kids. So it's like
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and your childhood has some it definitely has some an effect on the rest of your life. Power Rangers. I know that's a big part of my childhood is remembering Power Rangers. Watching Power Rangers on Saturday morning on
cartoons and stuff.
Oh yeah,
man.
Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, that was a big part of my childhood.
Even I remember like coming home and watching PBS.
Yeah, PBS.
PBS had like the lineup of like these 90s and early 2000s like cartoons and stuff, and you were like excited for them still. And then I remember when I went to college and somebody showed me, I mean, here we had Netflix, but it was like remember you used to mail it? Like they would mail you movies, and nobody really used it. I think I had a girlfriend that had it, but that was like the one time I saw it, and I was like, that's not going to last. People like going to Blockbuster.
Oh man, Blockbuster was
it was so cool.
Yeah, it was the thing. I mean, that oh yeah.
And then then I went to college, and I think I saw somebody, and they were like, hey, do you want to come watch TV over at my place? And I'm like, sure. I get over there. She has a laptop set up. And I'm like, what the hell is this? There's not even a TV there. And she's like, it's this site. You can stream all this stuff. And I was like, what? Like,
oh yeah, man.
It was revolutionary,
That was like, when I was in the Navy, when I first got in the Navy, man, I was 19, and and like learning, we go out on deployment and stuff, and like, I remember people having these hard drives and for their laptops,
yeah.
And then that was a big thing. I mean, we didn't have internet out at sea. I mean, you had very, very limited internet, and it was like dial up, and it didn't really work. I mean, it just really wasn't. You didn't really have internet out there. You could send out some emails every now and again, but I mean, I remember that it was like all eye opening, and like if you lived in a bigger area, like in suburbia, or if you lived in a bigger city, like they probably already had all that stuff, and I mean, the 2000s were a little different for them, and we were just a little behind here,
Yeah.
I feel like, and I mean, but now I remember coming home, back in like 2013 or whatever, and for the first time on leave, and I was like, my dad and my stepmom, they had Wi-Fi at their house.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, you guys got this high tech stuff. I was like, man, I thought this stuff was only like in
major cities.
Yeah,
or something.
And I was like, yeah, we got it over in Japan and and everywhere else, and I've got it my barracks. But I was like, how do you guys get this out here in the middle of nowhere? And it's just technology has advanced so much in such a short amount of time. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. I can't believe the difference. I mean, like, think about Spotify, dude. I remember we used to download LimeWire. I didn't really use LimeWire too much, but I remember even like, and then like, all of a sudden you get to. That was another thing in college too, was, hey, you pay like $5 or something because a student account, and you can just stream music. And I was like, because I was a big music head too, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
stream it. What do you mean? And they're like, it literally just plays off internet. But being out here, you're like, well, how the hell am I gonna do that? And like,
Yeah.
but then slowly over time, you're like, this is like revolutionary too, because then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what we're making right now, that's played across. I mean, like, I see my stats and they're not good, but I see they're played in U.S. and Canada, but it's also in Guatemala, UK, Spain, Korea, and somewhere else. I mean, like,
How
that's
many people view that? How many people listen to this? View this?
I have I mean, like, weekly it varies because when I put out the episode, there's listens, but then like I can't see what they're listening to.
Uh-huh.
But I have, since I started the podcast, I have 700 listens almost.
Hey, that's not
So
bad.
that may, I
Yeah.
mean,
That's pretty
it
good.
is what it is. That's cool to me,
Yeah.
and I just enjoy doing it. So it's fun to me to put out stuff.
Yeah. No, man, that's well, as long as you're, doing what you enjoy.
Yeah, and but like that, all that stuff is so crazy to think about because like what less than 100 years ago, people could get music by a radio and a record,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like, and the radio, I think back then it only played certain hours of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then a record was probably, I mean, what, in 1923, a record was probably expensive as shit.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, something, with the digital age and with, mass information at our fingertips, and we can literally look up anything we want, and we can learn anything that we want without going to college or doing anything. I mean, it's insane. Like, you don't have to, you just learn. And like, they have classes, you can download,
yeah,
lectures and things like that. I mean, without ever stepping foot in a college classroom now, and like, I mean, it's just wild.
me and you, dude, we just looked up. You were talking because me and Vince we were both like, we like history a lot. He was telling me about these warriors to look up about history of them, and I'm just looking up history of the Aztec warriors and the Russian Cossacks and stuff, and I'm like, back even 20 years ago, you would have had to go find an encyclopedia
Mm-hmm.
and like look up that stuff, and it would have had good information, and it's probably more trustworthy than a lot of these sites with a lot more detailed information. But like, that's so different. That instant gratitude is so nice, but it's so dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. What, ignorance is bliss? I
I
mean,
guess, but a lot of people aren't ignorant to it now, so it's like
no.
now it's becoming a problem.
Yeah, it's it can definitely be scary. I mean, and yeah, you're right on that. You don't really know what there's peer reviewed sources and everything else. I mean, but who's to say?
I mean, shit, dude. Snopes, Snopes, the fact checker.
Mm-hmm.
Even that was found out to be somewhat biased because Snopes is funded by a Democratic a super PAC. So it's like, what? Nothing's like no new. The only news organization I even like think about trusting anymore is what's it called? NPR.
Mm.
But even that, I know it's a little liberal, but I just like I find it not as biased. It's insane with bias.
That I'm going to YouTube and I'm watching a lot of things. Like what's it, Deutsche World or whatever.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
It's
Yeah,
a German.
it's a German one.
German news site, and then
Mhm.
Al Jazeera.
Yeah, I know Al Jazeera. Yeah.
Al Jazeera English, and like I don't know. I don't know how credible the Guardian is. I mean, but like there's some other sites that
Yeah.
and even like what's it? There's a Japanese news agency, and I cannot think of what their name is right now. Not Fuji, but I can't remember right now. But they're another one I watch. I mean, I just watch and another one that's really cool is like sometimes it pops up is like 60 Minutes Australia. That's actually pretty interesting. That's actually really cool.
Yeah,
like,
that's weird.
it's a little different perspective because it's not us. It's not us. They do a lot of specials and segments on like the U.S. military, and like the U.S. military in like
Really?
Alice Springs. You know that there's a base down in Alice Springs. It's like in the outback. You know.
Yeah. One of
And
the people I work with, they're actually looking at going to a war college over there.
oh, that's cool,
Yeah, I was like, that'd be awesome.
dude. There's some. It's really cool to see their perspective, and like the Japanese too. Like they'll go down to Okinawa or whatever, and they'll do like a segment on U.S. soldiers and the big hot topic right
Huh.
now is China. Like
Yeah, of course.
well, because like in Japan, we have bases. I don't remember how many bases we have in Japan, but I mean, Japan's basically it's not a colony, but it's like a protectorate. I mean, like it's I mean, because of the the resolution, I can't think of what it's called right off the top of my head, but 1945.
From the World War II.
Yeah, World War II. But I mean, so I mean, we have to supply them with our military.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the JMSDF, the Japanese Self-Defense Force, Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. But I mean, we are their military. We are their military.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we are their military. Like they have their.
So because of World War II, they're not allowed to build, basically, right?
Yeah, so that's that exactly. They are.
Germany just paid off their reparations for
Jesus.
World War II in 2010.
Wow. It's wild.
That's fucked up, dude. That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
This side note, I just saw that on TikTok, so who knows if it's true or not, but it's crazy to think about. No, I didn't know Japan, we basically, we don't run them, but we protect them.
Yeah, I mean, like our that's why we have all the the military bases. That's why I was over there. That's why a lot of people are over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have a big one at Okinawa.
Okinawa, yeah.
But I mean the Marines do too, so it's like, I guess there's a lot of presence there.
There's Kadena
Yeah,
Air
the
Force
Navy,
there.
it's huge there. It's a big one.
and like Yokosuka, Tsugi, God, they're all over the place.
I tell you about
Iwakuni.
I tell you about this every time because it's that Sturgill Simpson song, Sea Stories. He lists off like Kosuke,
Yokosuka, Roppongi,
Kosuke, Yokohama, Kansas, Susabuya, Roppongi, and somewhere else. Yeah, he says, yeah. He lists off like fucking 20 places because he was there as enlisted,
Ropo is like the Vegas of Asia, man.
Oh yeah,
Definitely the Vegas of Japan.
of Asia.
I think
just Japan.
I mean, man, I don't know. Hong Kong's I don't know about Hong Kong nowadays, but Hong Kong back whenever I was back when I was going to Hong Kong was kind of like Vegas. I mean, Hong Kong was nuts. I mean, it was.
I mean, there's just shit everywhere, right? Like it's just nonstop lights and shit.
It's when you pull up to Hong Kong, man. Like when you pull up in it, so imagine this, like you've seen like Enter the Dragon or whatever, like Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon.
No.
What?
No,
okay, well you need to watch it.
Never
It's good.
seen it.
All right. Well, so that's actually, in my opinion, it's a legitimate movie. It's like
Well, that's the one that made him famous, right?
yeah, and also it's like I think Warner Brothers produced it. I think they're like the only. That's like the only movie that.
That's the only one he made in the U.S., right?
Well, he didn't make it in the U.S., but it had U.S. producers.
Oh, okay.
And directors and everything. So like, it had Jim Kelly and.
Jim Kelly. You ever watch Undercover Brother?
Mm.
He talks about Jim
Kelly.
Kelly.
I've seen Undercover Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He because it shows a Jim Kelly movie. I didn't realize that was a real thing.
Yeah, Jim Kelly. Yeah, he's like a Kempo master.
Oh, he does Kempo.
Yeah. Like one of the opening scenes of the movie. It's like it's building the drama and the dialogue and everything.
Yeah,
and he's living in San Francisco, I think, or he's living somewhere. I can't remember. And he's doing. He's like they're doing their kata.
Yeah.
Their kata, their karate kata or whatever. And they're in there they're punching, and he walks out and he's leaving the gym. Just got his little workout, and then a cop stops him. And the cop says, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's like discrimination.
Right,
and
discrimination.
everything.
Yeah.
And then
Was it like a blaxploitation movie at that time, or was it like just like a?
It was just it was like
kung fu movie back popular.
Yeah, it was a martial arts movie. It was a martial arts movie. It really wasn't because it kind of like brought different disciplines too. It wasn't just like kung fu. It was like
it talked about kempo and stuff.
Well, yeah, it was like he was a kempo. Like if you look at the opening, like when it shows the scene, it says like something kempo. I can't remember what it's called.
You know, back in the 80s or 70s, everybody was just like, "Oh, it's kung fu."
Yeah, well, they still cluster like that. They call it
Yeah,
karate,
yeah.
like jujitsu, like you know, like that. People ask me, you do that like I like at work.
Well,
People
that's yeah,
they'll
yeah.
they'll like like these.
That's the guys watching it though back then.
What's that?
Like those guys asking you, like, "You still do that shit?"
Oh,
But those guys were the ones that were watching that movie when it first came
oh,
out.
dude, no, these guys they were not. They were probably watching like God, some western or some Clint Eastwood movie or something like I mean these are like old rednecks, but
Yeah.
and then they just they make those noises
Yeah,
and stuff and karate chop and everything.
You're doing jujitsu and it's like nothing like that.
Yeah, they'll like ask you all these questions and stuff, and they're like,
Can you break a man with one finger?
yeah, it's like, yeah, they call you the karate kid, like they call me the karate kid and stuff. I'm like, dude, okay, I just go with it,
I hate you, old man.
But I mean, but back to Enter the Dragon though, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like the setup, like the entrances, and then what's Rover's his name? Grover's his name. He's like this rich white guy, right? And he's a gambler. He's a big actor back in that time. This movie was made in like 1973.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's like a rich gambler. He's like that traditional. It's like a cool guy, back then.
Yeah.
And he's he's got the beautiful woman, and he's out golfing and everything else, and they're out tracking him down. They can't find him. They're like, hey, where's he at? He owes me money. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to Hong Kong. And then
I'm going to Hong Kong
because he has to get out. He has to get out of town because they're hunting him down. He's in debt, and so then but he knows some martial arts. He's a fighter. And so then they go. They all congregate here, and then Bolo Young's there. From Bloodsport, big chested dude, the Asian big chested guy.
I've never watched Bloodsport.
Oh my god,
dude! I know, because you and your fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme shit, but I never watched it.
Well, that's really like you don't need to really watch any other Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Bro,
you think
about it. You look at your dad, and you look at my dad.
Yeah.
And my mom and your mom, like, it shows what movies we watch. Like, I just never watched those action badass movies.
Like, how old's your dad? Like 60?
He's 61 now, I think.
Okay, so there we go. He's a baby boomer.
Right.
And my dad's Gen X. He's
right,
49. Yeah. So it's like completely different.
Right. I mean, my dad didn't even watch movies very much, Like, he likes Westerns, which I like Westerns, too, because I watch them with my grandpa. But, like, it was like that. I mean, it was a lot of Westerns when I was a kid. There was some 70s stuff in there. But then it's like Clint Eastwood shit, like Dirty Harry or like, my dad, I don't even know what movies he like loves, He likes, like now he's obsessed with John Wick.
That's awesome.
He thinks it's like the most badass movie in the world, dude.
That's awesome.
He fucking loves it. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. He's like, you fucking get, my dad when he watches the movies, he's like, you fucking get him. Like, Jesus Christ.
No, that's like the type of movies my dad watches for sure. Like, John Wick is like that's definitely for.
But like Predator, or that shit. My dad hates it. He thinks
that's the stuff my dad loves.
Yeah.
Like, that's like
what about Rambo? Your dad
he loved
that's
Rambo.
probably the dividing point between our parents.
Oh yeah.
Because my dad loves Rambo, but after that, when it gets Sly and shit, when he got to the dumbass movies, my dad didn't like it. But my mom did for some reason. I don't know. My mom's bigger than that shit.
That's huh.
I don't know. It's weird. What else you got, man? It's your interview. I'm sorry. I keep interjecting.
It's okay. It's your show.
I guess.
You're the king of the world. Staff Sergeant Lake.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
All right. I got some questions down here, so let's see. Okay. With you being a military man and, being active duty and everything else and, well into your career and being the ultimate soldier, universal soldier like the movie, Just a bad mofo. What do you think about this deal with China? What do you think? What do you think? What do you see happening by the 2030? We'll say 2030. It's
Um,
2023 for your
yeah,
information.
yeah. Thanks.
Sometimes I have to
I
remind myself what year it is. I have a hard time.
I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna take a break real quick. I want to give the answer, and then we'll think about it. But I listened to actually a CIA op, Bustamante.
Mm-hmm.
He taught. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah. So he was talking about this, and I agree with his ideal of if we go to war. I mean, we're already we're not at war with China, but there's a feud. Um, I think it's all gonna be cyber. I think it all will be like paper paper warfare, right? Like no actual bodies hitting the floor, except for in these like proxy wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ukraine is a hard one to pin, right? Because it could eventually. It's something that looks like it could lead to something, but like we're talking Africa,
Yeah.
Middle East. I mean, look at Afghanistan. China's occupying it now with Al Qaeda. Like it.
Oh yeah.
So like there's that, right? I believe that there's going to be this big escalation, and if China wins, they're going to become just the dominant force in the world because the U.S. isn't the number one superpower anymore. But the U.S. currency is, I mean, it trumps a lot of shit right now across the world. Maybe the euro does pretty well, but the U.S. dollar is almighty, you know. Um, I think we'll lose a lot of power in that. I think a lot of our attraction for the U.S. will go down, and I just think we're gonna start getting. Um, he explains it as U.S. culture influences the rest of the world right now. When that happens, that shift, China's culture will influence the rest of the world, and then the U.S. will not be as prevalent, and nobody's gonna want to live here and stuff. Which I don't know if it's that far true,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's definitely a problem of pride and stuff, and like power in the U.S. culture. And I do think if we don't do something about this China issue and we don't flip the script, they're gonna definitely like they're definitely gonna start running stuff in the world.
No, I completely agree with you, man.
Let's stop and take a break, and we'll jump right back into the China thing. Okay, Vince?
Okay.
All right. All right, we're back. What do you got, Vince? We were talking about. I gave my opinion on China, what's gonna happen and stuff. You did a little research over there. Tell me what you got.
You said by 2030 that it'd basically be proxy wars and just non non combatants, not non no physical
No,
conflict.
no force on force. I don't think. Like as far as like U.S. versus China warfare. No, I don't. I don't personally think so.
So what you were saying about China being the leader, looking back, there was some documentary I watched, and it was by 2050. They had said by 2050 China would have the number one GDP, and there would be two superpowers. It'd be the United States and China, two economic superpowers by 2050. Now, I think it's going to be way before then.
Yeah.
I think China's going to surpass us here pretty soon.
Yeah.
There's so many different graphs and charts you can look at. That say China's growth and everything else. And I think the 2021 chart I looked at was like 8%, and the U.S. GDP growth was 5%. That was during COVID.
Yeah.
But right now, this is the chart that I'm looking at now, and it's saying China. It's sitting at 19. The GDP is a little over 19 trillion, and ours is 26 trillion. So
Okay.
I mean, but then if you look at we're leading. We're the number one GDP in the world.
Yeah.
China's number 2, and then Japan is number 3, and Germany's number 4. And Japan and Germany are incredibly close, and it's all pretty relative. After that, India's number 5, UK's number 6. I mean, they're all close. The
Yeah.
4 trillion, 3 trillion, 2 trillion. All the way down to Brazil, which is number 10, 2 trillion. It's pretty close to Canada, which is number 9, 2 trillion. I mean, but yet we have America 26.8 trillion, and then China 19.3. Yeah, it's coming. I mean, it's coming for sure.
Do you think they're gonna overtake Taiwan?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
How soon?
I was, and once again, I'm no military expert. I'm no expert in anything really. but,
Yeah.
but just some things I've been reading.
We're out on a porch with chickens right now. We're not solving world problems.
But just everything that I've read and everything that I've seen on YouTube videos and stuff like that. I think they said that China. I think it was possibly 60 Minutes Australia. They said this, that by 2025, that 2025, China's forces should be ready to mobilize to overtake Taiwan. But
how big is Taiwan? Do you know?
It's not.
It's small, right?
Small
like
island, yeah.
I mean, like, is it as big as Missouri, or is it like way
no,
smaller?
It's not. I don't think it's as big as Missouri. No.
Yeah.
I mean,
how big a fort would island?
there were a lot of different things. Like they, I think U.S. Intel said it was 2027. They anticipate China to invade Taiwan, and then China. I guess their military forces are supposed to be ready for mobilization by 2025.
Yeah.
And then I saw some different things on Taiwan's defense systems. Their aerial defense systems, and just so there's so much going on. I mean, it's going to be a fight for sure. It kind of like the Ukraine-Russia deal.
Yeah.
But China. I mean, they can wipe them out if they want. I mean, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I mean, you're talking about a superpower here versus, Taiwan is.
I think the problem now is everybody looks at because everybody's scared of a nuclear war, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you should be, but what they're not wanting, what no country wants, is to destroy that supply, basically, that the population, the supply there, the resources.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody wants to go in and destroy it all. And with a nuke, you're ruining that land. Like, you're not going to be able to do anything with it, especially with a giant. I mean, Little Boy and Fat Man. Those were minuscule compared to what they have
15
now.
kilotons.
Yeah. I mean, now you're talking megatons. They could destroy an entire island like Taiwan, but then no one can live there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use anything that's there. So it's like,
yeah. Oh no, man, and you got MAD. Mutually assured destruction too. I mean, the treaties and treaties between countries and everything else. I mean, if you nuke me or my ally, then I'm gonna nuke you, and and then it's a slippery slope, and then everybody nukes each other, and then that's the end of the world. I mean, it's all the world leaders are very aware of this. Even Putin, he's been his rhetoric, he's threatening or whatever, nuclear war. His back's against the wall, whatever else, But I personally, and I don't know, man. I could be wrong about this, but I just don't think that any world leader of a major country is going to. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you get desperate enough, maybe if you think you have nothing to lose, but I mean.
Yeah, but it's not like Russia is fighting for their territory now. They're just fighting to take back territory.
Yeah.
Like they stand to lose everything and gain nothing if they start with that. Like they do that and it goes to shit. You're like, what did you accomplish at this point? Because now, let's say they use a nuke. Let's say they use one nuke, right, and just send it to what's the capital of Ukraine?
Kiev.
Kiev, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just send it there and ruin that city. Okay, like, what do you do from there? Because you can't go near it at this point. You're gonna piss off everyone in the surrounding area of Ukraine because Ukraine's very large. Now you're pissing off everybody. Now you have dissenters. Now Poland. Now fucking what's it called?
Belarus.
Belarus. All that shit. They're mad and they're not gonna work well together. Like it. I don't see a lot of gain from using a nuclear weapon.
No, and I think they're all aware of that. I think
Yeah.
that all the world leaders are really.
I think they use it to scare us.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think it's a scare tactic in the news and stuff.
well, it's in the playbook. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's always something. You start throwing that word around. You start throwing nukes around. You know, it's always you have to pay attention. You know, you have to. It is something that, you know, yeah, you get conditioned, and I think, you know, imagine the Cold War, and imagine growing up during that, like, you know, like,
When you never heard of that weapon before, except for one time when it ended a war.
yeah, well, the Cold War they heard about all the time though. That's the thing. That
No,
was all.
yeah, but I'm saying like when it started, right? The Cold War starts.
Yeah,
All the like not just kids, like military guys, all they knew about a nuke was that it ended World War II. And then you're like, what the fuck?
oh yeah, well, I mean, you know, Russia, the USSR, and China were testing, and you know when they acquired them, I mean, you know that changed the ball game. What 19? Good God, was it 1949? I believe was the USSR tested their first nuke. I believe it was 1949. China shortly after. I mean, I think, but
Yeah.
you know, once that USSR, you know, had their hands on nukes. I mean, it was a whole. Then it changed the game. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's where you see all the videos and the footage, and you know, just the. You can talk to people. I mean, you don't even have to look at those. You can talk to your parents, you know, and ask about their elementary
Yeah.
years, and getting under the desk.
Getting under the
And,
desk for
yeah.
a nuclear bomb.
Oh yeah, it's just. I mean, it was a whole. The threat was always there. You know.
Yeah, dude. They show us old videos, and then a lot of us, you know, in our advanced school, we got to write papers on. You know, some people do it on chem bio stuff, but there's a couple nuclear ones. I had to write one on this thing called the Bikini Islands, or the Bikini Atoll.
Bikini Atoll. Yeah.
Yeah, you know about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they literally ruined an island of indigenous people, basically, and they were never allowed to live there again.
Yeah.
I'm like, we did fucked up shit too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's all you know, subjective.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it's insane, man. I mean,
I think I really hope shit gets better. I hope for that all the time. But you just look at history and it's not. This is the way of the world. Conflict and movement of land geopolitically. Like, it sucks, and I hope we come out on top, but this is what happens.
yeah. Yeah, you see you see empires, you see the history of empires, you know, you see Rome, you know, and I think maybe we talked about this last time, just how Rome changed over time, you know, and just kind of got, well, it had a huge territory to govern. I mean, it just had a massive territory to govern.
Yeah.
And that for one, that's one issue, you know.
Look at the Mongol Empire, dude.
Mhm.
Even back then, the Mongol Empire spanned all of Russia, into the what is the the Ottoman Empire. It spanned over to what, Vietnam and shit. It had Khans there, putting power in,
Mhm.
like in Laos, Cambodia, and then it also went all the way up to Ukraine. So like, no matter the time frame, these places expand and then they collapse.
Yeah.
And there's never been there's never been an empire that actually lasts to this date, you know?
No.
Like, and the US is very young. It's only 250 years old. So it's like, that's a super young empire.
Yeah.
And people can call it what it wants. People will say like, no, it's not an empire really. I'm like, it's an empire. It's just a different word for it, right?
Mhm.
We're United States of America, but it's like we're like Ottoman Empire, Roman Empire, Russian country.
Yeah. Yeah, and something too is like influence. That's another thing. I mean, what Teddy Roosevelt say to Ben? Walk.
Walk tall, carry big stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our hands in so many things around the world.
Yeah, but that's what I hate is the world police thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that, dude. There's too much
Yeah.
shit going on. Back off.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got too much shit going on here.
We have a lot of domestic issues that need to be solved. That we really do. Just, I mean, we need to step back a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
Why are we still concerned about Iraq?
Yeah.
If you're so like we were so easy to pull out of Afghanistan. Iraq is way more settled than Afghanistan.
Oh yeah.
Let them run their shit then.
Well, the literacy rate. What was the literacy rate? I don't know the exact numbers, and don't quote me on it, but it was like Afghanistan's literacy rate was like, God, what was it? It was. I mean, it was so low.
It's like I'm gonna throw out a number, probably fake. 10% or something. I mean, it's
20%,
low.
25%.
It's low.
Iraq was like 55, 60%.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like was way higher, way
Bro,
more
it's
developed.
a second world country.
Yeah.
It was not a third world country.
No. Yeah.
They had a developed military, they had an infrastructure, they had everything. Like it was just a weak ass country with a dictator.
Yeah.
That was 20 years ago too. Like what the fuck? Like I don't know. And people want to like get mad about like these issues, right? You get mad, I remember when I first went overseas and like I heard women were still getting their heads chopped off for teaching literacy, and then you come home and you got people arguing about, what is a man or a woman?
Yeah.
What should be taught in schools? What all this stuff, and I'm like, there are such bigger issues in the world. Shut the fuck up. Like let's work on ourselves instead of like just dividing.
Oh man, we're the most divided. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, we can't agree on anything. Can't get anything done if you can't agree on anything.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's not enough like. I also think that the hot take, I think the representative democracy shit is outdated as fuck. And I think it's like insane to think we elect what Missouri has like, we're listing off facts again, just like dumbasses. I think Missouri has like, 3 or 4,
5,
whatever it is,
5.
But shit like that they're representing an entire area. California has a certain amount, right? Everywhere that amount is representing millions of people, millions and millions of people. And I just think I don't know if it's outdated or what, but it's like, that's so fucked. Like, and they stay there forever. There's no fucking term limit.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
What's your solution?
My solution? I think we should go back to what do you call it, where everybody votes?
Direct democracy?
I guess like a republic, basically.
Like Greece?
A republic. Everybody votes.
Well, that's so like that's
But
like Greece. That's like ancient Greece.
Yeah, but I also wish it was just a confederacy, where like, ooh, sound like a psycho. Yeah, yeehaw. No, I think though, states they should zone it off like territories or something. But like, I really wish like the states could just control their own.
So like libertarian, like libertarianism.
Right? No, not libertarianism. Just like each state controls its own population, but there is still a federal government that basically provides, they still control the roads. They still control federal like trade, I guess, and they still do a military.
So, okay, I got you. So like But you don't want a lot of direct involvement from the federal government, though, right?
I want some.
You want some.
Libertarianism, it says like you want very like little to none.
Yeah,
I,
that's what you sound like you're pushing
yeah, I
towards
don't.
libertarianism.
Right. I guess I'm borderline that, but I'm against the idea. Like people are like we don't need licenses for shit like hunting or fishing, right?
Yeah.
Well, the reason you need that is for poachers. You need it to understand the ins and outs of who's catching fish, how many fish are caught this time, how many deer are killed this year. That's why they do it. Why do people get a driver's license? So we know.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want little kids driving a car, and we want to know you have a basic understanding of like the law.
Society needs structure. I mean, for
Yeah,
sure.
you gotta
Society
have
needs
some.
some structure for sure. I mean, yeah, it'd be chaos. I mean, you can't have the world just lawless. I mean, and just unregulated. I mean, there's too many people in this country that I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying for sure, and I can see both sides of the argument. But it's you got to have structure for sure, because it'd just be freaking chaos. I mean,
I don't know what to do. Like, and I'm solving problems on a bench or on a patio in Missouri, but like I just think there's a better way than like these Joe Biden, right? He's been in what since the fucking 70s or some shit.
mm-hmm.
Like that was 50 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Like you look at your grandpa and everybody looks at their grandparents and is like, "I love you so much and you have wisdom, but you should not run the country." Like most people think that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no shit. Why the fuck is this guy any different? Like, it's the same with Trump too. Like, it's not like just Biden. It's these old clowns running our country, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And
Man,
I don't want 20-year-olds running it either. But
no.
like,
I don't want 30-year-olds running it either.
no, I want
Yeah.
40 to 60. Really, I want
Yeah.
40 to be the minimum and 60 to be the cap.
Man, it's tough, dude. That's a tough. This is a tough subject. I mean, because it's the solution is the difficult. Is the difficult thing.
Right,
to
because
find.
everybody thinks they have the solution, you know.
Well, it's
and
just so hard. I mean, because there's a lot of things you can do, but it's like man, is that the right thing to do?
Right.
Is that and the only way to find out is to test it.
Yeah, but there's no test subjects. You
No.
know? There's no.
It's
there's no way
it's
to
the American
go.
people that are
Yeah.
the test subjects. I mean, yeah, exactly.
But if they keep like, if shit keeps getting like fucking crazy around here, I guarantee there's gonna be something happen. Like, and it's not. I always think about events. I'm like, it's not gonna happen here in Vienna. We're fine. Everybody's content. We're like, yeah, those issues are pretty fucking wild, but we're fine. Where it happens is in the cities, in St. Louis, New York, L.A. Like people are gonna snap, and something bad's gonna happen, and then like I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be bad. I don't know what to do. What else we got, man? What else? We're going down dark thoughts here.
Well, I really don't have anything else, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. I got some questions for you.
Oh God, okay. What do you got?
If you could go back and pick one warrior from history, I just thought about this because the three you brought up, but I was thinking back like all of history. Who would you pick, like to be as a warrior?
Like a single person or like an organization?
Like an organization, you know, like we talked about with the
Janissaries?
Cossacks and stuff like that. But like out of all of history, who would you pick? You think?
So like in my opinion, like a cool period, like a cool period that I think these guys are pretty badass. Would be like Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. I mean, I just think it's good. Like,
That's pretty cool.
I mean, whatever you say about that war, whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I mean, just the style and just the way that they went about it. You know, I thought that was pretty
It's pretty
badass.
sick. Yeah.
Kind of the cowboy spirit. Kind of,
Yeah.
you know, in my opinion, that's pretty cool. You know, taking San Juan Hill, and I just think I admire the shit out of that. I mean, just the mentality then, you know,
That's pretty sick.
just the free spirit and just kind of let's go, you know,
Yeah, no bullshit paperwork, no nothing. Just
yeah,
get after it.
let's go, let's go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
That's fucking cool.
I think that's pretty badass. I mean, if you're gonna go back in time, I mean, I don't know. There's so many different. I mean, you know, I and Marines during World War II. You know, Marines in the Pacific.
Dude, they don't get enough credit.
I mean, oh, they're just fucking savage. I mean, just the shit that they had to go through. I mean, it's just like it's insane.
You know, most other branches say Marines are the best to work with, even
Oh
over
yeah,
the
dude.
Army
Oh
infantry.
yeah, dude.
Like they
They
love
are.
the Marines.
Oh man, Marines are great.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're fucking crazy, but they will get the mission done no
oh,
matter what.
no bullshit. I mean, just fucking, they're on it.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, for sure. You know, and just if you think about back in World War II with the island hopping campaign, at that losing 1,000 men a mile. I mean, my God, you know, just like.
I never looked into the Pacific War too much.
Oh,
That's
dude,
insane.
It's
man.
interesting, man. It's just they just had to be savage, dude. And you know, they come home, and I watched a documentary. I think it was set in 1946 or 1947 in black and white.
Yeah,
And it was in a military mental institution or mental hospital or whatever.
yeah,
And it was cool. It was, I mean, it's fucked up, but it was cool. It was like it was a black and white. I forgot the name of the documentary, man.
yeah,
But it was about these soldiers and Marines and, you know, military personnel that came back after World War II. And they talked about shell shock.
yeah,
You know, and it was like, I think I took it in a psychology class or something in college. I can't remember.
yeah. Because it's just
Well,
like
PTSD was like not a thing.
right,
They
but
didn't know
it's
what
not
that
even
was.
PTSD, dude. It's not like PTSD is different now. Like that was like that really was, you could call it shell shock, because they're
Yeah.
fucked up, dude.
Well, I'm sure a lot of them had PTSD though.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, like it was like you know,
Intense though.
yeah.
You know.
I mean, like it was just like these people. They just. I mean, one guy, he couldn't even talk, man. I mean, like he couldn't even
Yeah.
talk. He was like a mute. He didn't have, and they had to go through the therapy and just, you know, the practices
Yeah.
back then were so primitive compared to now because they just didn't know what they didn't understand, you know, like
Yeah.
the doctors and the medical field, you know, they had no idea what they were dealing with, you know. I mean, like,
Yeah.
and if you look at different times like the Civil War, and I mean, you know, I'm sure that this has been a thing since the beginning of war, you know. I mean, PTSD and, you know.
They said I took a Native American history class, and it was about the warriors. Then that's who I was gonna pick. I was gonna pick the Comanches.
Yeah.
'Cause they were just savages, man. They fucking wrecked people, and they put up the hardest fight against the U.S. Army.
Mm-hmm.
Because fucking Jackson was kind of a dick about it, and like, they would all have these parties when they came home from war or a giant battle, and they would all get around a fire and dance, but the fucking story of what they witnessed and would reenact it like in a dance,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like cathartic to them, I guess, because it got the emotion out to people. Because that's what it was. I didn't read it in that. I read it in Tribe, the book by Sebastian Younger.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about it. They got their PTSD basically out through dance and storytelling because they were able to tell people. And that's the problem with a lot of military guys, you know, from basically World War I to now. Nobody wanted to hear the stories because they were like, that's war. I don't want to hear about it. And it's fucked up shit.
Yeah.
So they internalize it, and then it becomes a symptom.
That's pretty wild to look at it that way. You know, that's, man, you know, like, well, we were talking, you know, about the Aztecs, you know, just man.
We'll go down it. Yeah.
Well, no, but it's just like, here's the question, you know, like if society makes it, and like Comanche society kind of probably was like that too, like not like the Aztecs. Aztecs were fucking brutal. Like they were fucked up. Like they would sacrifice
Just
children
sacrifice
and shit. And like,
yeah.
do a bunch of fucked up shit. But like, like and I mean, if it's made to be like I don't know the word for it. If it's made to be uh, normalized in society, you know, is it okay or what? I don't know.
I think it is. If it's normalized across the board, like it's normal. You don't know what you don't know, so it's like uh, I think I think there was also civility back then. Like you look at that right, and you're like, that's fucking crazy. Aztec Empire was from the 1400s to 1600s or something like that. Did you know Oxford University is older than the Aztec
Well,
Empire?
well, so Cortez got to
Well, he was the conquistador and took it over.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you're saying okay? Well, I kind of want to look this up real quick.
that's fine.
Was it really that long?
What?
Hold on a second. So
Fuck! I didn't know the light. I didn't know the light worked.
okay. So 1100
Okay.
and then 1522
Oh,
rebuild.
Tenochtitlan.
Yeah, and then they called it Mexico City. So that's when it was named the capital of New Spain.
For Spain, yeah.
So 1522.
So 1100, 1500, and then look up Oxford University. It's weird when you look over the time lapse of how these places worked.
Oxford University, like what? Just like how long?
It'll only bring up one college.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like, what are you?
Oh, I want to know the year it was made. This is a side quest. Bum, 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 bum,
1096.
1096.
So,
See, it's older.
So
It's older than the goddamn Aztec Empire. That's crazy.
So 1096. There is no clear date of foundation, but teaching
Yeah.
existed at Oxford in some form in 1096. So yeah, pretty much. And then 1167, Oxford developed rapidly from 1167 when Henry II banned English students from attending the University of Paris following a quarrel with Thomas Becket.
Dude, the kings were so salty back then.
Oh yeah.
The goddamn Protestant church was founded because they wouldn't give him a divorce.
Yeah.
What a dick.
The Anglican church that we were talking about, yeah.
No, Protestant.
Well,
That's why it's called Protestant.
Well, Anglican would be Protestant. Like Martin Luther technically found Protestantism.
No.
Well, Protestant covers like a bunch of different like types of like Baptist would be Protestant, or like or Methodist would be Protestant, or
No, those are subsects. So
Yeah.
it was literally before it was just Eastern Orthodox and the Roman Catholic Church.
right.
And then Henry VIII wanted a divorce, couldn't get it,
The Anglican Church. Yeah.
said fuck you. No, Protestant. It's called Protestant.
Well, it's Anglican Church.
I'm going to have to start bringing out a laptop here.
Anglican.
I swear to God. If I win.
So it is part of the Protestant Reformation. It's a form of Christianity that includes features of both Protestantism and Roman
Yeah, it's
Catholicism.
goddamn subsect.
Yeah.
Whatever. Either way. What were we talking about?
So it does stem from the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther started with Lutheranism, but Luther like
Whatever. Whatever. You win this round. Damn it. That's stupid.
They're very similar.
Either way, it's all fucked up.
They're very similar. Like,
it's all fucked up.
Like Lutherans and Catholics and Anglicans
Yeah,
are all
it's all under
similar.
Christianity. Yeah,
but like Baptists are way different than than Catholics.
A little bit, yeah. I would even say now there's like this whole new generation of like they call it non-denomination, but it's like it's so different than any other religion, like any of the old religions. So it's like, what do you call it now? Neo-Christian?
I don't know.
Yeah. What What do you think is our answer to Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, our answer to Ukraine and Russia. Well,
I tipped the scales with my beer, so I'm ready for
it. I don't know if this is the right answer, but I mean, less involvement. Just I mean, I don't know, man. That's really tough. Like, Ukraine was a part of the USSR, and if you go back like way back when Ukraine was its own sovereign territory, so it's really tough to figure that out. But it was a part of the USSR.
Yeah.
And then in 1991, when everything disbanded, it kind of became sovereign, just like the other Soviet satellites. They're very similar people. It's tough. It's tough to say. I kind of like what we were talking about earlier with getting involved in every other thing in the world, and not.
No, I like your answer.
I think that we kind of just need to let them. I mean, I know it's
figure
tough.
It out, right?
It's tough. It is very tough because it's a sovereign nation, and
it's like you said, the news. When you see people dying. Yeah. Or getting fucked up, you're like,
appeal to emotions.
I want to help.
It's appeal to emotions, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's tough, man. That's a tough question.
It's a tough sell. Yeah. It's a tough sell to not help.
Very limited involvement. I think if I were to if I were to kind of give my answer on this, I would say it'd be limited involvement. It'd be only economic.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we can sell them, military, like kind of like sell them military goods. I mean, but then you have to watch what you.
It's the same as World War II, though.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, just like with Japan. I mean, it's I mean, but it's really tough. Yeah. I mean, I think I don't think we should be too involved. Very limited involvement. That's tough. I don't know. Business ethics.
Business ethics.
Yeah.
What you said is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life. I award you no points.
May God have mercy.
And may God have mercy on your soul. Well, you see, the thing about business ethics is, what a different answer. Or what a different question. Oh, you messed it up. Deal with it. I gotta blow you away.
Was it Steve Buscemi's sniper
Dude,
rifle?
he has a sniper rifle. He fucking shoots him. He's fucking sitting. He says sorry to him.
Yeah, he calls him.
We jumped so many fucking. We went from Ukraine Russia problems to fucking Billy Madison quotes. He's like he calls him. He goes, "I just wanted to say sorry. I was a jerk to you in high school."
Grabs his lipstick.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Crosses his name out on his kill list. That's fucked up. Nah, man. I mean, I personally.
I'm glad I called that guy. All right, guys, we're back after that break. It was good. I wanted to ask Vince a couple questions before we end this. I want to know, what are your top 3 comedies of all time?
Billy Madison's number one for sure.
You think it's number one?
Yeah, for me for
Yeah.
sure. That just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's it's not a. I guess
It's funny, dude. It's so fun. I put it up there.
it's just so
It's
many
up there.
one-liners and just so many
Yeah.
just quotable scenes.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Stop
You used to
looking at
send
me,
me,
swine.
dude. Me and you have sent so many of the gifts
Oh yeah,
to each other.
it's fucking hilarious. So Billy Madison, number one. What would be number two? I hate to give Step Brothers number two because it is a damn good movie, but it's like
I was talking about it today. We know it too well.
yeah,
The quotes, like I could quote the whole movie, and now we find shit in the movie funny that's like not the main joke.
yeah. No, it's just like dialogue. It's shit, yeah.
Or her pissing in
Yeah,
the
that's
fucking urinal.
I know. It's like when you're younger, it's like yeah, that shit's funny, but it's
Yeah.
not as funny as it is now. It's like
Stay golden, pony boy.
yeah, okay, fine. Step Brothers number two.
Yeah.
A classic. The Other Guys, I like that one a lot. That one's funny.
The Other Guys.
So I'll
is
put that
good.
number three.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
it's
let's
all-
do five. Let's do five because I got
Oh,
five too.
God.
I think I can do five. But like, I mean, you do. We're already there. Like you already. But like, the Other Guys is solid too because, like you said, so many one-liners and
Yeah.
like just so many quotable shit.
Aim for the bushes.
If I wanted you to talk, I stick my hand up your ass and move your mouth like a puppet.
The wooden gun. Then he gets the rape whistle because
The rape whistle,
he
dude.
he can't handle the
You
wooden
can hear the wood gun.
gun. The gator.
Gator needs his gat, punk ass bitch. Dude,
Uh,
the rape whistle is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Man, I don't know, dude. There's a lot of funny movies out there. I don't know. I got three. That's my three.
All right, I got a couple. And this is like my top five. I don't know if they're like in order or what, but
Mhm.
these are like, especially Billy Madison for sure, just because when I think about how much we quoted it, and I probably still quote it naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Solid movie. Blazing Saddles,
Yeah.
I think is like one of the top movies of all time, but it's also just like one of my favorite comedies because there's so many like taboo jokes in it
Mm-hmm.
that like were ahead of its time like crazy. And now it's crazy because it was ahead of its time, and now it's considered what is it, like fucked up, like it's canceled almost.
Mhm.
So I think that's cool. And then I like Happy Gilmore too.
Happy Gilmore's good. Yeah.
And especially now that I'm into golf, it's
Mhm.
like, dude, I'm on the range like golfing. I can quote it
Oh my
like
god.
all
Yeah.
day. I'm making quotes out there.
That is exactly that. When I first started golfing, that was
Dude,
me too.
all you
man.
do is
Oh,
like
man. Get in the hole, ball.
yeah, that's your home. Now you're gonna die, clown. That I had another one. This is another one that you were like, not that you were like, but you were like quoting too much or it's annoying at this point. But Talladega Nights,
Talladega Nights is pretty good.
I thought it was like the greatest shit in the world.
Yeah, when it first came out. Yeah.
If we don't get in, what does he say, dude? The beginning. It's like this little parts now that are so funny. In the beginning, he's a pit guy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the Laughing Clown or whatever liquor
Mhm.
store. That guy pulls over for a pit stop. He gets out of the goddamn car and he goes and eats a sandwich. And he's like, "These are really good. You should try one. I'm gonna make a phone call and then I'll be right back." And then the fucking big ass dude from Green Mile is their fucking pit
Yeah.
boss,
Mhm.
and he's like, "If we don't get that car back out there, our sponsors are gonna shit a chicken." I was like, what the fuck does that even mean, dude? That is fucking hilarious. And then a fifth one was pretty hard. Now that I think about it,
Walk hard.
Dude, Walk Hard is good. It's not that like I try watching it again. It's not that funny to me. I think it was funny in the moment. I can't get into it.
Dewey,
So
did you put
stupid.
PCP in your mouth? Nope.
No, dude, he climbs on the building.
Lifts a car.
I am Zeus. No one can stop me.
Wrong.
He lifts a car. Yeah, he lifts a whole car.
Lifts. Fucking cuts.
He's
his
in his
brother in half with
underwear.
a machete.
Yeah. Now I realize how easy it was to cut someone in half accidentally with a machete. His brother is Jonah Hill when he gets older.
Yeah.
He's like a ghost. I was going to be great enough for the both of us. Now I'm cut in fucking half.
Now I'm half. Oh man.
That's good shit. I like Ace Ventura too.
Yeah.
But
That's all right.
but not the first one.
I-
The When Nature Calls, when he goes to Africa.
yeah. That one's all
shit's-
right. Yeah.
That shit's funny. Dude, he rolls the car every time into a perfect parking spot. This is so stupid. Like that's like I call it Steve Snodgrass humor, because we used to watch it. Vince knows because that's our teacher in high school. He used to like on days off. We'd watch that. We'd watch Dumb and Dumber.
Mm-hmm.
Just these stupid ass comedies that you're like Dumb and Dumber. It's funny,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't put it up there.
No.
Like it's quotable, it's funny, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Jim Carrey's just he's. You gotta have it.
He's just a lot. It's just a
Yeah.
lot, dude.
Yeah, he's to me. I mean, he's got some funny movies, man. I like Me, Myself, and Irene a lot. That's actually like one of. I really like that.
He has
movie.
the 3 black stepkids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a damn good movie.
She's about to free Willy.
Vern Troyer's her
No, not Vern Troyer. Vern Troyer's the white dude. This dude's the
Oh.
black dude that's from Bad Santa.
Oh, never mind.
Bro,
yeah.
Bad Santa might be your 5th movie because you
Oh,
you
man.
always talk about this
Dude, I
shit.
forgot all about Bad
Dude,
Santa.
Bad Santa's so fucking good.
Bad Santa's badass. Oh my
I
god.
love that fucking movie, dude.
He's
I
played-
never even seen it. Like I've seen it, but it's like I've seen it so sporadically. But there's so many funny.
Dude, he's playing chess with the little Thurman Merman. We nicknamed the kid.
Oh, you always talk about the
Oh.
the checkers game.
he's like, are you gonna make a fucking move or what? And then he goes, the kid acts like he's just oblivious to everything, and then all of a sudden he goes,
Yeah, like dead
King me.
pieces. Yeah.
he fucking grabs the board, and just flips it up. He's like, what the fuck?
You're fucking with me.
You're
Yeah.
fucking with.
You're fucking with me.
Eats the advent calendar.
Oh yeah, it doesn't like one day he's pissed off. He just eats all the Advent
he
shit.
gets drunk. No, he
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gets drunk. He's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But it's what's so
Dude.
funny about him.
He fucks that fat chick in the fucking
Oh,
dressing
God.
room. You're not gonna shit right for a week. It's like, oh my god, dude, you hear that? You're like 16-year-old, and you're like, huh? Hey, that's weird to say. And then you're
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh my god.
Yeah, you don't even like comprehend it. Then you're like,
Yeah.
what is this dude talking about?
You like kind of get it, but you're
Yeah.
like, you're like, oh my god. Have you watched Everything Must Go?
No.
It's Will Ferrell. It's a serious movie though.
Is that one where he's like
It's
he's
like
like a
gr-
businessman or something, or
No.
works for the IRS?
No, that's a good one too though. That's like that's Stranger Than Fiction.
That movie's all right. Yeah.
This one, he like I don't even know what he does, but he comes home and he starts selling everything at a garage sale.
Oh,
And
I
a kid's
seen-
fucking with him or something,
Yeah.
and he's drinking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out he's getting divorced
Mm.
because he's an alcoholic.
Mm.
And he like in middle of the night he like loses it. And at first I thought it'd be funny. I was like, no, it's like that dad anger coming out. It's like, oh my god,
No, I've never seen it.
that shit's good. All right, shit.
What
I
you got?
guess I don't know. What do you think about Zins compared to old Copenhagen or Kodiak or what?
Oh, just like the nicotine.
You like it the same? Like,
So I think like a modern, like you see a lot of these different, with the way everything's going with
right, it's all
nicotine.
natural and shit
Yeah,
and all that.
well, I mean, it's just like you've got vapes and you've got substitutions nowadays,
Yeah,
versus like the traditional, Marble Reds and
yeah,
the menthols and just cigarettes and cigars and chewing tobacco, and like now there's just so many different product lines out there. The
yeah,
Zens, I think like I just like it because it's not actual tobacco. Um, that's something I like. It doesn't stain your teeth, and
yeah. The stain in the teeth thing, that's a big one.
yeah, it just I personally I prefer it.
Yeah,
And also too, I can dial back a lot with these. Like with the nicotine percentage. I quit cold turkey chewing tobacco probably 2 years ago, maybe a little more,
yeah.
maybe 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
And I just like, man, I'm just kind of sick of this stuff. And I quit cold turkey probably about a month. And I was like, all right, well, you kind of
yeah,
start
yeah,
like,
yeah.
everybody's doing it around me, and it was so tough. And yeah, the right thing to do is just completely quit. But someone recommended these ends, and I was like, okay. And I
They don't
I don't
seem too
chew.
bad.
Yeah, I don't chew. Well, I'm not. I mean, I guess it's kind of chewing. It's nicotine, but it's like I don't chew. No, I don't chew
It's
anywhere
not
near as
cutting your
much.
lips or anything,
No,
though. At
no,
least,
it
so
doesn't. No,
that's good.
no tobacco and
Yeah,
other crap. And it just all it is nicotine. I mean,
yeah.
but
People say that now. I saw your Celsius, and I was thinking about it. People are saying that's like the new Monster. I'm like, first of all, no. But they're saying like that's the new health trend, because I guess people think they're healthy for you,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, they look healthy. It's still just the energy. Like I'm the first to admit I drink like, you always make the joke. I drink like 2 or 3 a day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cutting back from back in the day. I was drinking like 4 or 5. Like, they're very good. They're clean somewhat, but like still a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 200 milligrams caffeine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's 2/3 of a bang.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you gonna do though? If you're trying to get through the day and shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a vice. It's the vices for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
those are my two vices. I really don't drink a lot. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of. I mean,
I sit here with 3 tall boys. Like, yeah, and you never really. I mean, even when you come around, you drink a little, but you never drink.
2 beers maybe.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, it's not a lot.
I just don't have any interest in it
You have
anymore.
like a wild hair up your ass every now and then, but that's like it. That's
like,
very few and far between.
and then anytime I do, it's like I'll have like I won't even drink 6 beers. I'll have like 4 or 5, and
Right.
that's like crazy night. And it's like
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know, man. I'm not really into drinking anymore.
Yeah.
It kind of just for me. It's counterproductive, and something I can tell like with jujitsu and working out and everything else,
Yeah.
and sleep too, and just work because I work long shifts and stuff. It's like it drags me down, and I think I read a study on this, and it says like the older you get, and we're not old by any means, but we're getting older.
Yeah.
Is like alcohol kind of like if you have a predisposition towards depression or
Yeah.
things like that, alcohol is a depressant, and it lingers a little more because your metabolism slows down a little bit as you
Yeah.
age and everything else, and you don't process it as well. Um, but I do kind of like feel kind of sort of depressed like a day or 2 days later if I drink.
Oh, interesting.
And
Yeah.
I really do
It sticks with you. Yeah.
it does, and it's like something. And ever back when I drank a lot, it was like I just didn't notice it. I always thought I was like depressed. I always thought I was just oh, that's just who I am. I'm depressed.
Yeah.
But then it's like no, not really. Like yeah, maybe there are times when I'm depressed, but everybody gets depressed every now and again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it doesn't work the same anymore. Now I don't get really.
That's an interesting. Yeah. That's interesting
I've
to
read
see.
some studies on it, man.
That's good.
It's interesting. Just
Well, good on you for taking that initiative though on yourself, like realizing it.
Mhm.
Because most people, like myself included, I still drink even though I know it. Like, I'll tomorrow I'm probably gonna feel it for sure. But like, there's days where you're like, well, why the fuck am I feeling so sad when I'm not like, I don't have that many issues going on? It's like, oh, maybe that alcohol that I drank last night like is hanging over.
Mm-hmm.
Like that that's
It's
something.
it's weird. It's weird because back when we were younger, especially you would think that, like you'd get drunk, right? You'd drink a bunch of beer, and you would think in your head, okay, now I know why today I feel bad, or I feel sad, or I feel rough, or whatever,
Mhm.
like physically and mentally. And then now it's so odd. Maybe, and another thing is I don't drink often anymore, so maybe that's part of it. I don't have any tolerance or whatever you call it anymore towards alcohol,
Mhm.
But I just feel even a few beers. It's not like I feel hungover or anything. It's just that I feel like it affects me negatively the
I
following day.
I think it works the same as cocaine, cuz cocaine is an upper, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
makes you positive. And then, what I've never done coke.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard everybody say, you do coke, you come back down, you're feeling it like, oh shit, I'm sad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's probably because you were that high. Now, the way I look at it with alcohol, people say depressant and they think it makes you sad.
Mm-hmm.
No, because most people, when they drink alcohol, are pretty happy.
Mm-hmm.
What depressant means is it depresses
Your system,
your
your central
system.
nervous system.
Really, it should be called like a suppressant
Yeah.
because it suppresses all those, like, especially us in high school with these, you know, bad thoughts or shitty feelings, very limited then. And then when you're older, you have a lot more issues going on.
Mm-hmm.
So you're shoving all that down. I'm not saying off it like, and I don't want to say that too. I'm drinking 3 beers. Like, I don't think I'm gonna feel that fucking depressed.
No.
But like, and I don't even think now I don't drink insane amounts like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you drink a bunch, it's gonna suppress all these emotions down to where you're like, I don't have to worry about shit. That's why you feel good because
Mm-hmm.
you're not worried about nothing. And then when you wake up, everything hits you. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to do
Mm-hmm.
this? How am I going to do that? And it's like, that's the cost you got to pay, like, to get through it. And, I mean, there's a couple ways to work it out of your system. But it is what you're going to deal with.
Yeah, and I think personally, I think like if you want to enjoy, I mean, if you want to enjoy 1, 2, 3 beers, whatever, you're you're a grown adult, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. That's not going to affect your life in a negative way, at least like directly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to. Well, hell, I mean, they say 1 beer a day is actually can be good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Well, I'm crushing it then.
but for me that never worked. It was like,
Yeah.
I would have to have, you know, multiple beers, and I don't think that's good. If you have 6 beers, I don't think that's good for
Yeah.
per se good for you. I mean, but to do it every now and again. I mean, who's
Hey, and you're not doing it every day.
yeah.
You're not doing it every day. It's the same with weed. I
Mm-hmm.
hear weed's amazing for you. I hear it helps people. I tried it. I was like, fuck that. I'm not gonna lose my sanity over it. But I know a lot of people where it helps them gain functionality,
Mm-hmm.
and there are downsides to weed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no, like, everybody can't just be like, oh, weed's perfect for you. No, there's downsides to it. Just, they're not that tragic, if you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing it every day all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, if you anytime you rely on a substance, like
Yes.
that's the thing. It's like
Yes.
it could be acetaminophen. It could be I mean, obviously there's
It
not.
could be CrossFit. It could
Yeah.
be fucking
Well,
yeah. It
I
could be
rely on
yeah,
exercise. I have
yeah.
to.
But I mean, that's a healthy habit. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
have to have it, or else I just don't feel right. I
Yeah.
mean, I have to. It's
Those are those healthy
yeah.
addictions that are okay sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to. We all have our vices.
But those people. My mom, she had a friend that uh, up in they got divorced. She moved to L.A. or Vegas or some shit. She became addicted to CrossFit. It was already during the divorce. Like, she was addicted. Moves out there, addicted even more. She became anorexic and shit and just was focused on fitness, but she looked scary.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, she finally got better. But it's like, it are some of these addictions healthier than others?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But overstimulation
Yep.
hurts no matter what.
Yeah. Well, don't put your eggs in one basket, and moderation is key. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
Moderation is the biggest thing, and that's I think if you really break it all down, self-actualization. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs or whatever,
Yeah.
and reaching the top of that pyramid. I think that self-actualization has a lot to do with moderation. I think to achieve it now, like self-actualization is a concept. It's a concept. It's an idea.
Yeah, I don't care if you're the goddamn Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
I don't. I
It's
think it's never gonna happen, but it's good to work towards.
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly, and I think that's the purpose of it. Is I think that you're working to achieve self-actualization, and it's a goal throughout your life, and it's not necessarily you may never achieve it, and most of humanity will never achieve it, but it's it's something to always work towards progression, forward progression.
I'm gonna read you something to end the night on. I read it to my class the other day. It's my favorite quote, and you'll know it when I start. And this is how we'll end the night. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life, but it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning's done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be. Because I am or her ain't anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. Name that movie.
Adrian, you want to come inside? It's cold outside. Rocky 1. No, it's
No,
It's Rocky 6. I know,
It's
but
actually Rocky 6.
yeah,
But
it's
yes,
yeah,
dude, that whole,
yeah,
me and you will do a whole podcast on Rocky. So,
yeah.
but dude, that's like speaks volumes, right? Like that's what it is. It's literally not even about like where you're trying to get to. It's literally if you could just keep going.
Yeah, man.
That's my favorite fucking quote, dude. I had that shit on when I was in Afghanistan. I had it plastered on the wall. I love it.
Got to, man. You got to, because if you're sitting still, it's just, I mean, if you're sitting still or you're moving backwards, there's no hope. I mean, you can't live your life that way. I mean, 1 inch, if you move an inch per day, that's something. You don't have to move miles per day. You're not gonna most days you're not gonna move miles.
No.
You're gonna move an inch. You may move a centimeter. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean
That's okay.
That's okay. As long as you are trying to move forward, and that's so important, because I mean, you have to have something to live for, something to work towards. If you don't have that, then your purpose. You have no purpose. You have to have purpose.
Purpose is the driver, dude.
Purpose.
It's what gets shit done.
Purpose. That's everything, man. I mean, I think that, I think that happiness and purpose are different, for sure. Different. I mean,
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
I've had private conversation with you about happiness and purpose. Like you don't need happiness all the time.
no.
But if you don't have purpose, you're gonna be fucking upset, and you're not gonna know what to do with yourself.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like there's little things each day that I say, like each pay period. Like with my job. It's like something I tell myself. Okay, well, I'm going to save X amount of money.
Yeah.
And there's things that come up. Everybody has that in life. There's things that come up that you can't save X amount of money this pay period or this month or whatever, but my thing is I will save. If it's $1, I'm gonna save $1.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's extreme.
That's good. No, but it's
I
good.
mean,
That's a good look at it.
yeah. I mean, I have to. It's something. There's little habits that I try to create that, I have to save. My goal is to save this amount. If I don't achieve my goal, well, shoot,
I'll
that
figure out
sucks.
something. Yeah.
But I'm going to next. My goal, my goal is to work towards that amount of money that I want
Yeah.
to save. And if I don't hit it, okay, we'll do better next month. But I'm going to save some money. And then that's how I view it. I mean,
Absolutely. Vince, I can't thank you enough for doing this.
yeah,
I think we're gonna keep doing this probably if you want to, but
that's
I
fine.
really like this series we're going down. So, guys, thanks for listening. If you did, please be sure to like, subscribe, listen, and share. We will be back hopefully next week with another episode. And thanks for listening. We'll see you.
See you.